welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. And we'll get into the breaking news in just a minute. Obviously, once I have dive into the comments. Let's go. Baz says, Kaiser, we are live. We'll just make sure that everything is working, and we'll get the comments up first before we dive into the Celtic news. Yeah, we're live. We're fine. We are fine. San Fran Celtic says there's plenty of young players out there. Look at the likes of Musa and O'Reilly. And had the perfect approach to these situations. Get him out, Sharon. Well, we'll talk about Daniel Kelly in a minute. He has rejected the first offer of an extended 4-year deal. 4-year deal. He has rejected the first offer of the 4-year extended. Well, it's not an extended contract because he's still on his youth term contract. It would be his first team squad contract, and he's looking for more money. Let's face it, he's looking for more money. Right, before we get into the rest of the news, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. There are currently 9 thumbs up, it's saying. San Fran Celtic had your comment. James Duffin, he's turned down the contract offer. There must be a reason, which we'd like to know. Yeah, it's money. Simple as that, money. He thinks he should be offered more money to stay at Celtic, which has always been. It's always been. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll get through all the first commenters. Tam Max in the house. Ian Roy, he's a young player. Don't know the reason rejecting the contract, but 18-year-old. He should be glad to sign for us. If not, send him on his way. I can see how the night's going to go. Hail, says Paul Baird. What is PL hot to do with it? What is Peter Law to do with it? I've never said Peter Law had anything to do with it yet. St Mary's Parish, Church Court Bridge. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Not today, but in the past. Anyway, big up the St Mary's Parish Court Bridge. Give them the going rate. Lowell, yeah. Lowell isn't there anymore, the son, but the father is. Kaiser says, let's go. Grey Machine, using the Celtic platform usually comes with project players, not youth players. Celtic wanted him. I'm sure they would offer him better. It's only the first round of talks. It has been going on for a while. Celtic have known that he's out. Let me get through the comments first. Let's get it. Good evening from North London, says Cineris. Who really cares, says Hill. Kaiser then goes on to say, if we're getting scouted and offer big money in the English Premier League side, Celtic could respect our own and work with the training and develop these players and give them proper deals. Yes, it should. Hail hail from the Gallagate, says Snowball. Tony McVie is in. Hail hail. Baz Jamie is in the house. Probably being offered buttons. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. James Boy's in the house. Even Baz. Paul McCune's in the house. Paul Baird. It's a pity Brendan Rodgers won't go as well. Paul Baird is on point as per normal. Paul Baird has stuck to his guns and hasn't wanted Brendan Rodgers back at all. And he said that he wants out. It's basically due to money. Right? John Hooley cares in the house. Gemma is in the house. Even you, Gemma. John Wisher's in the house. James Boy's in the house. Can't blame him if he doesn't think that they're going to pay him what he's worth. Chill Pillow says, why did he turn it down? Money. Simple as that. And James Duffin says he has to remember that he doesn't have the depth of first team experience yet. He needs that before he makes big demands. In modern football, the younger player wants to get the riches as quick as they can. I think Daniel Kelly, I'm going to put this out there now, and I put this on the record. Daniel Kelly will sign a brand new contract with Celtic, and I bet my whole 16,203 subscribers on it that Daniel Kelly will sign a new contract with Celtic. This is only the first round of talks. You expect him to reject the first offer. It always happens. Why has it been made public is the bigger issue. Why has it been made public? That is what we need to be asking. Is it the agent that's made it public? Because it wouldn't have been Celtic. Someone released the information to Sky earlier on today. Sky got the information first. Celtic midfielder Daniel Kelly has knocked back the initial contract offer from the club, but remains in talks over a new deal. It's understood that Celtic and the 18-year-old are still keen to agree new terms. Kelly's current deal expires in December, on December 31st. That would mean that he'd be able to enter pre-contract agreement talks this summer with other teams. Kelly broke into the first team this year. He scored his first senior goal, and in the 7-1 win back in December. Remember that game where everything clicked for Celtic, and Daniel Kelly hit an absolute screamer with his wrong foot. But anyway, the information was leaked to Sky, and it should be asked within the corridors of power within Celtic who released the contract details, who released the fact that he turned down the initial offer from the club. I've got no issues with him at all knocking back the first contract offer. I've no issues with anyone, and we're going to talk about someone who expected more from Celtic and left Celtic. Celtic sold him. He's not a young player, but he is the big grumpy Greek. We'll talk about him first. Let's get on to that. Let's talk about the grumpy Greek, because he's someone that I did name the grumpy Greek, but Georgios, he wasn't the gorgeous Georgios, gets brutal about why he left Celtic. The former Celtic striker has opened up on his decision to leave Celtic, citing, he has said that contract expectations and the weather. The weather. One of the reasons the grumpy Greek wanted out of Celtic because it rains too much. Wait a minute. Jesus God. Really? I think one of the first things you do when a club comes in for you in a foreign country, you say, what's the weather like? Let's see. Anyway, the big grumpy Greek has taken to media. He was asked in an interview, and he shared his insights into his transfer from Celtic. You got to remember, he was a player that he netted a good amount of goals in his first season, 2021-22 season, purely for the fact that Giakoumakis was injured, remember. And then when Giakoumakis come back into the team, the big grumpy Greek didn't take too well to that. So he went to Celtic and he said, you know what? Give me what I deserve. And I was waiting. And it's similar to the Paolo Di Canio situation at Celtic back in the time. I would even say George Cadet and the three amigos. It was a player that came to Celtic and he's obviously been told, look, if you do the business, we'll renegotiate a contract at some point. At some point. The big grumpy Greek says, look, beyond the contract issues, the climate in Glasgow played a significant role in my decision to leave Scotland. He says, at the end of the day, I was like, do I want to go there with this shit weather? The knob. See everyone that says, oh, we shouldn't have shelt the grumpy Greek. We shouldn't have shelt the grumpy Greek. You live somewhere largely because of the weather, I'd say, Baz. Yeah, I do. Well, no, it's because of Brexit. I moved out of the UK because of Brexit. As simple as that. San Fran Celtic, we had an opportunity where during COVID brought us an opportunity, and with Brexit looming, we made a decision. That wasn't for work reasons. We had to basically start over again, and that's a whole conversation. I mean, he's walking straight into a job. We came here and we didn't earn anything for the first year, so saying that I moved somewhere just for the sun is completely different from not being able to earn an income for 12 months, where he's moved country for better weather, better money. So anyway, get me fucking started about that fucking nonsense. Right. Anyway, the big grumpy Greek said, 1 year in Glasgow and I went out with my son in the park one time. That is miserable. He said, that's not normal weather. That is the reason I wanted out of Glasgow. The weather was absolutely shite. I wasn't getting paid what they said I would. Ultimately, he says, look, there was only one. There was a director flew to Glasgow for me to meet me. The director flew to Glasgow. I appreciated that. It showed me straight away that, you know what? You are really important. I don't care what you're going to be able to sign for us. We just want you. We want to meet you. We want to meet you. So he must have met behind Celtic's back initially. And then he decided to leave. He decided to leave and go to Michelin or whatever it was. Fucking tires. Fucking. Anyway, the Grumpy Greek said it was the weather. Boom, boom. Life is better for Gigi. He wouldn't be talking about us. Exactly. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? If he's meeting his football goals, if he's meeting his ambitions in football terms, he wouldn't be talking about Celtic. Let's face facts. Celtic are going to go into the Champions League next year if they win the league this season. And anyway, stay calm, Baz. Celtic loves you, says B. Yeah, I'm going to stay calm tonight. I'm going to stay calm tonight. I've just had food and a nice Fanta lemon. Baz, the weather here is shite. 66 years of this. Here's right. It's shite, but I didn't move just for the weather. I could talk about this all day long, but I didn't move for the weather. We knew that with Brexit looming, that we wouldn't have the opportunity to retire easily in Spain. You'd need in Europe. You'd need a vast amount of money, and it was always an ambition of ours to retire in a hot country. My dad worked in Spain. I went to Salou when I was 16, worked in Salou for the summer. I went to Ibiza and worked in Ibiza in 1995. The missus has worked abroad, so it was something that we knew. And my dad worked in Spain and Tenerife for the best part of 20 years. So there you go. There you go. And when I moved here, we never had a penny for a year because of COVID and lockdown. Horses for courses, but everything's fine now. Anyway, let's get some of the comments. I'm not even going to go to the comments. Let's go back to the reports of the news today. There's a story that I found interesting, and it's interesting. We should probably mention this one because, let's face it, there's been a lot of teams complaining about the amount of penalties that have been given. Should we talk about that? Let's see how many Rangers have been compared to Celtic. St Johnstone have been given 2 penalties. Ross County have only been given 0 penalties this season. And that's interesting. Hibs have been given 4 penalties. Kilmarnock have been given 5 penalties. Interesting that Killie have been given 5 penalties. Next up is Dundee. They've been given 5 penalties. And then Aberdeen have been given 5 penalties. Motherwell have been given 7 penalties. Livingston, who just went down, thank fuck, because that pitch is terrible. The only good thing about Livingston is the big away fan day. 8 penalties has been received by Livingston. And then we get to the nitty-gritty. We get nitty-gritty. St Mirren have received 9 penalties. Hearts have received 9 penalties. Celtic have received 15 penalties. And top of the league, looking down on everyone else. When it comes to penalty Rangers, 16 penalties for the season. There you go. It's in black and white. They have had more penalties than us. And that's interesting. Just thought it was something. Anyway, let's see what other Celtic news is kicking about tonight. Let's talk about... Hey, I'm not going to even look at Celtic news anymore. Let's talk about the one and only. Let's talk about the captain, Callum McGregor, because I think Callum McGregor has had... Paul, let's talk about Shankland not getting a red card. I'll go with you that one, Paul. Let's talk about Shankland not getting a red card. Now, Shankland was given a yellow card in the first half. He should have been given a second yellow card for the fact that David, it's a fantastic Catholic country. Trust me. I feel cheated growing up Catholic in Scotland because we don't celebrate half the stuff that Spain does. Anyway, what's the penalty stats again? I don't get penalties. Let's talk about Shankland. Shankland brought down a Celtic player in the first half. He was given a yellow card for it. and it was correct. He then did a two-handed rugby tackle, which could only be seen as a rugby tackle. Two-handed, he had his arms around the Celtic player, and he never got that second red. He never got the second yellow for the red card. He then handles the ball like this, like he was putting his hand on the fucking Bible, and he puts his hand up like this, and he doesn't even get booked. Doesn't even get booked. Now, obviously, people are saying, oh, it's to make sure that he's playing against the Rangers. But is it? Is it? Or is it to make sure that it doesn't... fucking who cares? Why was he not red carded? Anyway, Shankland's Tifo, he'd protected him. Here's a question. Here's a serious question now. If Shankland becomes available at the right price, should Celtic move for him? That's a serious question I'm putting out there. We know King James Bible. Only Shankland was the reference kicking lumps at him, and our players pull back. Should Celtic go for Shankland? Is he the type of player that would make Celtic better? Can he do it in Europe? Can he do it in Europe? Blue Waffle CSC. No red card because he was the player of the year the next day. Yeah, of course. And I've seen a couple of videos, Brothers and Arms Bars, as simple as that. Yeah. I've seen a couple of videos of the referee that was the ref at their game yesterday, giving winks to the Rangers manager. No thanks, overrated. Shankland, no. John Paul Murray says, take him in a minute. Green Machine says, Giakoumakis is the driving force. If playing in another league, he would be classed as world class. Green Machine, you're right about that. You're 100% right. If Callum McGregor is in the same, and I class him similar to Scott Brown. Scott Brown probably had the chance to move if he wanted, but it never entertained him. Because, like Callum McGregor, you want to hang up your boots at the end of the day. You want to hang up your boots at the end of the day, and you want to look at the medals that you've won. And that's what being a footballer is. You don't want to you go into football because you want to try and win things. Let's be honest. And Callum McGregor has won things. James Forrest has won things. I know people will say, no, James Forrest wanted out of Celtic years ago because of his injury, his consistent injuries. But Scott Brown said it many a time about a player that left Celtic. And he said, within 6 months, they're giving him a WhatsApp saying, I made the wrong decision. I should have stayed at Celtic. The move for big money, the move for the chance of playing in the English Championship, the move for the chance of playing in the English Premier League, and it's not all that it's made out to be. Ask Ange Postecoglou how he's getting on. Do you know what I mean? Ask Ange Postecoglou about the riches of the English Premier League. Ask Ange Postecoglou how he feels about being able to win and go into the Champions League. As it stands just now, Ange Postecoglou won't get Spurs into the Champions League. And there's been many player throughout years that the one and only Bruni has spoken to, and he spoke about it publicly. He spoke about it purely for the fact that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You can have a career after football, but he would rather sit down and go, do you know what? I won all those medals, and I won them fair and square. And it's simple as that. Simple as that. The Grumpy Greek. Let's get back to the Green Machine says, for the first time in his career, he's had a wee dip in form. Callum McGregor, yes, he has. If Shankland's on the pitch, it's near goal. Shankland only got Player of the Year because Sevco and Celtic players wouldn't vote for each other. The grass isn't always greener, says Sham. The Ange Ball is truly burst. The Ange Ball, well, he was found out down in England, wasn't he? He was found out. I mean, it's okay going to leagues like Australia, Japan, and being able to do things that managers aren't really used to. But when you go up against top managers, is what he did. But there are people saying down in England, it's like, well, Ange Postecoglou needs to be backed by the board, by the man who owns Tottenham. But anyway, wonder if Ange is going to win nothing this year. I think it's one of the first times in his career that he's went to a new club, and well, it is the first time in his career, I think, that he's went to a new club and he's never won anything. I did say that Spurs was probably the wrong team for him. If he was going to go, he should have hung off to try and get the Manchester United job. I think he would have walked into that if he'd hung around long enough. I think he's probably done his reputation more damage than good by going to Spurs. I'll be honest about it. I think Ange is probably he jumped at the first team that came at him, and they offered him silly money. And fair enough, he'll be like, well, I'm set up for life. But I think he picked the wrong team, personally. Anyway, that's enough about Ange. He's fucking gone. It's all about Brendan Rodgers, and Brendan Rodgers is here for 3 in a row. Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor is one player that has had a lot of stick. And I take Aberdeen lad before Shankland, to be honest, says Sean. Shankland won't score another goal. It won't score another goal this season. You're probably right there, Chill Bill. John Paul Murray says his all-round game is very tasty. Now, how about put the ball in the back of the net? Every single, but same as Bruni. Griffiths, yep, they were linked to Celtic. Look how they worked out. Griffiths had a good Celtic career. Do you know what I mean? Celtic had a good Celtic career. It was situations outside football. But anyway, we move on. He's in Australia enjoying his life. How many penalties has Shankland taken? Give me 2 seconds. It'll be all the Hearts ones. Where is the Hearts ones? Rangers. Hearts have received 9 penalties. He would have took the 9 penalties, I would have thought. He would have took the 9 penalties. He's their penalty taker, isn't he? Right, let's see if there's any more Celtic news. Insider. Fabio Silva lead the line against Celtic. Who cares? Frightens life in. Stephen Cragen says Celtic have a player. A lot of people talking about the have fun comment from Brendan Rodgers. Anything to get them wind up on a weekly basis and get them to lose their head before a big game this weekend. David Moyes to leave West Ham at the end of the season. David Moyes, the manager who was meant to be Celtic manager but never took the job. That's interesting news. Nothing to do with Celtic, but I was just looking at you. Sorry. I'll get back to it. Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor has been talking. Greg Taylor has been talking about a player who's behind the scenes. And Greg Taylor is getting to that position now. He has had that new extension on his contract. What's Greg Taylor? Is he 26 or something now? He is getting of an age where he's becoming the more experienced player in the Celtic squad. You would never have said that before Ange Postecoglou came to Celtic. You would never say that 3 years down the line that Greg Taylor would be one of the elder statesmen at Celtic, would be one of the players that people look up to at Celtic. What the fuck? I can't believe I'm saying that. But he looks up to the one and only Jamesy Forrest. DJ Singy's in the house. How are you, mate? How you doing? Yeah. Greg Taylor looks up to the one and only Jamesy Forrest. And he said at the weekend, he said, look, James Forrest is a model professional. He's someone that's worked hard over the course of the season. James was in a difficult situation. He has loads of experience at the club, but he's had probably fewer opportunities than anyone else. But he never spat a dummy out. He never demanded to speak to the manager. He never demanded a transfer. He never demanded anything. James Forrest just gets on with it. Because James Forrest knows what it's like to play at Celtic. And he knows that he has still what it takes. However, when the business end of the campaign comes around, he's the one that says Greg Taylor that you can hang your hat on. There you go, James A. Go and score us a few goals. He's proved it because he's been here since Greg Taylor has been here. James Forrest has done that consistently. He says James keeps himself on himself. He says he keeps himself in amazing condition. He says he's ready to play at the drop of a hat. He's someone who has devoted his whole career to Celtic. He says, I'm always stretching and rolling about on the foam. and trying to get better in the gym. He says James Forrest comes in doing a load of weights, but his preparation, he always looks after himself. He says James Forrest, people don't understand what James Forrest has put himself through physically to make sure that he's in the position that he's in at Celtic. He never misses anything. It's the same, says Greg Taylor. Then goes on to say, says when you see how he works, it's easy. He's consistently at a high level as a player, and he's been at that high level for so long at Celtic. Despite the signings of Nico Kuhn, Yang, Forrest, people said that his time's done at Celtic. His time has come. His time to move on to pastures new. Even though that he's still got about 3 years left on his contract, he says, but getting James Forrest onto that pitch at this end of the season, he knows how to win games. And with Dyson on the other side, wow. That's what I want to see us going into next weekend with. I want to see us going into the game next weekend and annihilate them and have some fun. The atmosphere at Celtic on Saturday was brilliant, says Diane. Chopel says B. Big Alley has put himself about Saturday against the Minis. He's fine. I sign him. Very small players look up to Greg Taylor and Forrest, the under fives, says Kaiser. James Forrest isn't actually that small when you stand next to him. He's about 5'9", 10. He's not actually that small. But everyone calls him wee James Forrest. I think it's just a name that stuck with him. Maida looked electric over the weekend, says Chopel. I actually think he's gained a yard of pace. I think he probably has. The game against Feyenoord and the goal against Dundee, he's wanting big bucks. Rocco Vata leaving. Surely he'll sign up. Talking about the one and only Daniel Kelly. Daniel Kelly will sign a new contract with Celtic. I am confident in the fact that he will sign a new contract with Celtic. It is just the first round of talks. He was probably well within his right to refuse the first contract offer from Celtic. Because you all know, and we all know this, Celtic do not offer big bucks to the guys that are coming through the system. They'll go out and they'll bring some 20-year-olds, 21-year-old, and they'll put them on 10, 11 grand, 14 grand a week because he's came from Sweden, because he's came from wherever. And they're not worth it. Do you know what I mean? Celtic have probably offered him about a grand a week or something stupid. They should just go out, offer him 4, 5, 6 grand a week, pay him what he's worth, give him that 4-year contract. When he's at the end of the 4th, I would give him more than that. Because I think he's going to be Celtic captain one day. It would be interesting to find out what is the amount compared to what Callum McGregor got when he first came through the team. Now I know you're going to say, well, Callum McGregor came through the team about 15 years ago. You know, he came through. It probably wasn't 15, but you know what I mean. It was a long time ago. What was Callum McGregor offered at that time, and then how big were the increments to get to where he currently is? Anyway, is Giakoumakis young Daniel Kelly's agent? Fucking don't tell me he is, because Giakoumakis ends up fucking talking half the Celtic players out of this. Now, Jackie's dad stays not far away from me. Maybe go and speak to him. Yep, Jackie McNamara's dad stays out here as well. Guys, I says, Baz, you better sign. You've tipped him for future captain. He will sign. I'm pretty sure he will sign. Get Kelly on loan to Barnsley, for fuck's sake. No, I wouldn't get Kelly on loan to Barnsley. Get him to sign a new contract and get him in that first team next season. Get him in the first team next season. It's fine for that. Chilpel says a grand isn't bad. Theo Bar is on 600 a week at Motherwell. I can remember when my brother was going to go to Man City a long time ago, and there was a young guy, John Paul Burns, who went through school with my younger brother, and he went through the Hearts Academy, and when he was 18-year-old then, he was on £600 a week. And then Craig Levine decided to take him on loan to Cowdenbeath and fucking ruined his career, and the young lad fell out of love with football. travesty, because he was actually he got in the first team at Hearts at the time. He thought he was going to be a good player, but he didn't. He got chained to Cowdenbeath by Craig Levine, and then he fell out of love with football. Shows you, just shows you. And there is another young guy at Hearts who is a relation, young guy for Fife, who is a relation. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway, James Boy says, I think we blow the Huns away the first half. Keep at the second half. This time, I reckon Kelly will be offered about 3 or 4 year K a week, 3 or 4 grand a week. Keen to stay, getting in the champs. Do you want to play for Celtic? Chilpel says, I'm as bad as Fester. I want the game to come tomorrow. Levine was utter garbage. Yes, he was. Did your mother? No, my brother didn't make it as a pro. He was offered to go down to Manchester City when Manchester City was shite, and they wouldn't pay for him to. They wouldn't pay his college fees. They said that he had to pay his own college fees at the time. So he went, fuck off. And then he then took up Thai boxing, and he made a name for himself as a Thai boxer. So there's a little bit of information for you. And he was one of the first Scottish people to win a competition in Thailand, I believe. I'd rather see Kelly go to another SPL team if we're going to send him on loan. Kelly's not going out on loan. Kelly's not going out on loan. St Mirren would be good. Would St Mirren be good? Because we've sent a player there, and anyway, how long have we been on for this evening? I haven't even noticed. Let me go back onto this. I haven't even got pages open tonight. Software. That. There we go. Been on for 31 minutes. Jesus, there's been over 790 people viewed the video. I'm not staying on much longer because I'm going to go and the rain's off and I need to check the garden. Anyway, I couldn't box eggs. Never mind. Ties. Fantastic. Right, let me just shut down some of these screens and see what Celtic news is kicking about. I know how the player is sent to St Mirren getting on. He's injured, is he not? He's injured currently. Celtic headlines: Joe Hart chuckles at Santa jeers, and he laughs at the time. Well, he didn't laugh. It upset him that Celtic fans booed Santa. That came after a game where we got beat Joe Hart. But now he says that we've got our revenge at the weekend. Got our revenge at the weekend. Philip Buchanan, who cares about that? Cast of thousands to victory. There's not a lot of Celtic news going on tonight, but it is what it is. I think the big news, obviously, tonight is the fact that Daniel Kelly, Thai boxer. There you go, Thai boxer. Couldn't mind Thais, yeah, Thai boxer, yeah. Got to be off your nut to take up Thai boxing. Well, he was quite good at it, and he now runs his own gym. Shankland's not for me, no chance. Didn't want him in Paradise. Funhouse starring the blonde mullet guy as the twins. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, right. Forrest incident, straight red. The Forrest incident, straight red. It says Lark Winder. Pat Cash. Pat Cash, what are you talking about? Pat Cash, I've no idea what you're not talking about. No idea what you're talking about. We spoke about the number of penalties that Rangers top the table. Surprise, surprise. Rangers top the table for penalties given this season so far. Celtic go into the weekend 3 points clear at the top of the table. Who should start this weekend? Jamesy Forrest needs to start. Dyson Maida needs to start. I think the back four will just be as normal. And then the midfield and Kyogo. I think it's going to be the exact same team that starts that started the last two games. So we'll just see how it goes. I just think that once we that's not what I wanted. SPFL. I haven't looked at the table since obviously they played yesterday. And they are on 81 points with 53 goals scored. Celtic are on 84 points with 58 goals scored. We are top of the table, top of the league, looking down on the Rangers. Hearts are sitting on 63, comfortable, as you knew they would be. Kilmarnock sitting on 52, nothing changed. They're not going to knock off their positions, Kilmarnock or Hearts. St Mirren are sitting on 46. St Mirren, who Celtic entertained the last day of the season. And Dundee are on 41. But Hibernian are on 42. That is the shambles that is Scottish football. So currently, Hibernian are getting done out of around about £180,000 because of the split. Absolutely shocking stuff. Shocking stuff. Anyway, that's us done for this evening. Thank you to everyone who's watched the videos. Take all the foreigners out the EPL and the league becomes average. Yes, it does that. Look out for how many yellow cards given against Huns. Larkwiner says, Big Ange not working. No, it's not. No Kuhn, please. The rest will do fine. Who do you bring on instead of Kuhn? We could talk about that tomorrow night. Make sure you join me tomorrow night for the live 6:30 Celtic Park time. And on that note, Kuhn is always off it. He is that. But I think if we bring Dyson Maida on and Jamesy Forrest, that is the way forward. We are sitting on 16,205 subscribers. Thank you to every single person that has subscribed to the channel. There is no financial gain to being a subscriber for me. It's just a number. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, all around the world.